Opening the door to Christ. This is our third lesson in the series Belonging to God for September. We started in the Old Testament looking at how Judah was to live under their enemies. Then we jumped to Jesus and his encounter with Simon the Pharisee and the sinner woman who came to Christ. Today we will continue as we look at a conflict in the early church. If I were teaching this lesson, I would study the background for our text by reading chapter 1 of Galatians. There is a huge debate and conflict going on, and Paul needs to nip this conflict in the bud. It is, in fact, so important that it could derail the universal gospel of Jesus Christ. If Paul's opponents have their way, it could remain a Jewish sect and not the gospel of Christ for all people. Paul confronts head-on the hypocrisy of Cephas and Peter. They have slipped back into the belief that Israel is set apart by practices commanded by the Torah, and now they want to make the Gentiles comply with circumcision and certain kosher food rules. Paul declares that Cephas self-condemned himself. He ate with the Gentiles at one point, and then he drew back when certain Jews came from Jesus and pretended to be more Jewish and Torah-following. I do like Paul's straightforward confrontation with the Judaizers. Paul was once the foremost Judaizer, persecuting the new Christians, and he was gloriously converted, and now he is not about to let this new gospel be sidetracked. He claims his authority is from God and not men. I might want to discuss those conflicts in the church today where we cannot step aside and let things happen. Paul is defending the message that the gospel of Jesus Christ is for everyone, and that's good news. An interesting side note here is that Paul won out and the gospel was not hobbled by the 613 rules of the Torah. Jews did convert to Christianity, but many Jews did not. And today there are still Torah-abiding Jews. Paul reminds us in Romans 11 that the Jews' rejection of Christ is not final. This could be an interesting subject to have your class look at and come up with some ideas in the future. So what are the implications in our group or your class that promote faithful Christian living? Are there times we must confront head-on the hypocrisy we see in the church? Are there markers that we Mennonites and Anabaptists put up that make it difficult for others to join in? Do we give up some of our radical beliefs in peace and justice so others are more anxious to join us? I see where many Mennonite churches take the name Mennonite out of their identification so as to be more attractive to others. I would challenge the class to see this as two-sided. Yes, we do want to be inviting. We want to enlarge our tent and become more multi-ethnic. But on the other hand, we don't want to water down the radical demands of Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount. I would not denigrate our religious heritage. It is a good one, in spite of all the splits and divisions. Everyone needs a heritage and a family. Today, many people are looking for community, love, and respect. Think about ways of being more inviting and more evangelistic. I hope you have a blessed time teaching this challenging and wonderful lesson.